Hello everyone, as always, I'm Vlad Sparastoria and Rescue of Shooting. This is another Carcano. Vlad, how many Carcanos are you bringing us? Well, it's kind of the rifle of the Italians, and this is an Italian language channel. So over time, as I get my hands on them, I'm bringing all the interesting versions for collectors. Usually we never go this deep with the individual models of a weapon, but I think the Carcano, especially given its spread and importance in this country, is worth it. From a distance, this looks like a perfectly normal Carcano 91. In fact, in part it is, except for the fact that this is known as a tubed Carcano. What is a tubed Carcano? Well, the tubed Carcano tells us a very interesting story. It tells us the story of how, during the First World War, Italy was using up so many rifles. These rifles were fired so much that extensive repair operations were necessary. And in many of these rifles, the barrel was so worn out and so damaged that it was unusable. However, Italy was not as industrialized a nation as Germany, France, or England, and it had to find creative solutions to recycle as much of the material it had as possible when it wore out. The rifling of the barrel is a problem. It's a problem because the barrel is no longer able to spin and stabilize the ammunition. But how do you redo this rifling? Well, because if we go and mill it away, we get a larger caliber, which isn't good. And the vast majority of nations and companies would throw these barrels away. They would throw them away, not reuse the material, but build a new barrel from scratch or replace the barrel on the weapon's receiver. Italy in 1917 was absolutely not in a position to afford to throw anything away. And so a system was developed to replace only the bore of the barrel, inserting a tube inside the barrel itself to recreate the rifling. In Rome, they first experimented with a method of building the barrel in an economical way, the exterior made of iron and the interior of steel. This method failed, so the Salerno method, named after its inventor, not the city, was used for these rifles. In short, they would mill inside the barrel, removing the rifling, and insert a tube, specifically a steel tube, which, using special tools from the inside, would be expanded against the walls of the barrel itself, recreating the necessary thickness to then rifle the whole thing again. We can recognize this method, this barrel sleeving, on this weapon in two very quick ways. First, it's written on it. It says that it's sleeved. Second, you can see it a little bit. In particular, at the muzzle of the barrel, you can see the two different metals. In this way, I could recover most of the external material of the barrel by redoing the rifling from scratch. Why are these things marked? Well, first of all, to indicate that it has undergone this repair process, so the barrel should be new. Second, sometimes these barrels made in this way were not of the best quality. Just think that to check them, for example, they would hit a metal tool against it, and the most experienced craftsman at the Terni arsenal, for example, could tell by the sound. If this barrel's vibration was correct and sufficient, the weapon would return from the front. It's clear that this was an emergency method to repair the Carcano. It's fascinating to hold this weapon because when you pick up a historical musket, it makes you think. You can't always say for sure that it saw war. Well, the ones they found were fired so much during the war that they had to replace the barrel, and I find this exceptional because it means that this rifle, with this little technical detail that might seem trivial, could actually be hiding some very old secrets. So, when you find one, since not that many were made, and maybe it costs less because someone didn't realize it's a Tubato, grab it because it's really worth it. For its history. That's all from me today. As always, I'll see you next time.